A very good morning and Jai Hind children. Welcome to chemistry class. Children, we were doing the chapter changes around us and you know that we have completed the explanation of the chapter and I hope you are clear with all the doubts and you have also done the worksheets of changes around us. And children, we have also completed the book exercise as well as we have done new words and concept map also. Okay, so today we will be doing the short answer questions and long answer questions of this chapter, that is changes around us. So I request you all to please take out your fair notebook of chemistry, and in that I am pretty sure that you have written the new words and the concept map of this chapter. So now let's start with the discussion of short answer questions and long answer question of this chapter, that is changes around us. So let's start with it. I hope everybody is ready. Children, questions you will write with black pen, answers you will write with blue pen, and in answers the things that are bold and with and that is underlined, you will write it as it is. All right, so I'll start with the discussion of short answer question and long answer questions. So let's just first quickly go through the chapter. So children, if you remember, we have completed all these things. We have started with the first topic, that is changes. What are the changes that takes place? Then we have talked about reversible and irreversible change. Then physical and chemical change, we have talked about that also. And we have seen what is chemical reaction, what is reactant, what is product, and what are the changes that are taking place when we mix two or more substances together. So all these things we have seen. We have also talked about some more examples of physical and chemical change. We have also talked about what is catalyst and what is activation energy. This also we have seen. So all these things we have completed, children. We have also done the oral question here, and I think and I'm pretty sure that you have written these new words as a homework and you have drawn the concept map of this chapter, and we have also done the choose the most appropriate answer and very short answer question. So now we are heading towards the short answer question and long answer questions today. So we'll discuss it one by one. I'll send you the PDF of the chapter. So after the class gets over, please go to the school app, go to e-content. There you can find the attachment of the PDF. Okay, from there you can write the answers. Okay, so children, if you want, you can write it along with me now as I am discussing it here. So you can write it now also. But if you have any doubt, if your speed is slow, you can copy your answers from the link. Okay, so let's start with it. I hope everybody is ready with the fair notebook, with black pen, blue pen, everything. So let's start with it, children. Okay, so children, we have discussed this oral question. We have discussed this choose the most appropriate answer, and answers are here. I have already shared it with you. Now coming on to the short answer question, answer in sentence or two. I hope everybody is ready. Now question number one. Question number one is, give one example for each of the following types of changes. So we have to give the example of physical change, chemical change, reversible changes and irreversible changes. So let's see what is there. So if we see here, so we have to give the examples of all these things. So you will write the answer and you will write like this. So what is the example of physical change, children? Tearing of paper is a physical change, isn't it? Tearing of paper is a physical change. Why it is a physical change? Because when we tear a paper, no new substances formed. The molecule of the substance remains same and no new substance is formed. That is why tearing of paper is a physical change. You can also write any other example, but this is the most appropriate example, that is tearing of paper. Now, chemical changes. Chemical changes example is burning of paper. Why? Because when we are burning the paper, then the paper is getting converted into new substance and various gases is also released, and the molecule of the paper now gets turned to the ash. Okay, so here the internal structure is also changing and a new substance is also formed. So chemical change, the example of chemical change is burning of paper. Now, reversible changes. What is reversible change? So the change that can be carried out in a reverse direction is called a reversible change. So what is the example? Example is molten wax becomes solid again when cooled. So we know that this thing, children, isn't it? That if we have a wax with us, this is a candle, isn't it? This is a candle. Alright, so what happens when we burn the candle? The wax, this is a wax. So what happens? The wax melts. Alright, so wax melts, but after some time, this wax will get solidified. Isn't it? This wax will get solidified. Alright, so that is why molten wax means पिघला हुआ wax becomes solid again when cooled. जब हम इसको ठंडा कर देते हैं तो ये wax क्या होता है? वापस से solidified हो जाता है, वापस से ये solid में convert हो जाता है. That is why it is a reversible change, because पहले भी वो wax था और वापस से change होने के बाद ठंडे होने पर भी वो wax में convert हो जाता है. So this is the example of reversible change. Now, irreversible changes, जो process वापस से same नहीं हो सकती, that change, such type of changes are called irreversible change. जिसको हम दोबारा से reverse नहीं कर सकते, such type of changes are called irreversible changes. Like for example, cooking of food. तो जब हम खाना बना देते हैं तो क्या होता है, खाना बनाने के बाद हम वापस से वो सारे वेजिटेबल्स और वो सारी चीजें को रॉ नहीं कर सकते, है ना. अगर हमने आलू की सब्जी बनाई तो हम आलू की सब्जी में से वापस आलू को वैसा नहीं बना सकते जैसा वो पहले था, isn't it? So this is cooking of food is a irreversible change. I hope this is clear to you. So these are the answers. Moving ahead with question number 2. Question number 2 says, a potter shapes pots out of clay. एक potter है जो clay से pot को बना रहा है, ठीक है. So how you will see it? Let's see. So let's see here. So this is a pot. All right. So this is a pot. A potter is shaping the pot, and you know how they shape it. So they have something like this, and another circle, another circle, another circle, and they try to shape it up with their hands. Isn't it? They use their hands to shape it. Alright. So this is the process of shaping the pot. Okay. So what is the question? A potter shapes the pot out of a clay. He then bakes the pot in an oven. फिर ये क्या करता है? इस pot को bake करता है. Like in an oven, he bakes it. Okay, so he takes an oven and he bakes it. So what is the question? Question is, identify the reversible and irreversible change taking place in the process. इसमें से reversible change कौन सा है और irreversible change कौन सा है? This we have to identify. So children, what is reversible change? the process that can be reversed again. So if you see, this is a shaping of pot. Here the potter is shaping the pot. Okay. तो जब वो शेप दे रहा है पॉट को, हम क्या कर सकते हैं, वापस से उसको क्ले में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं. क्ले से पॉट बना रहा है, हम वापस से क्या कर सकते हैं, पॉट को क्ले में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज इट इज इन रॉ फॉर्म ओनली. ठीक है. सो शेपिंग ऑफ पॉट इज अ reversible change because we can reverse it again into the clay. So pot can be reversed back to clay. Getting it? And clay can be again reversed back to pot. Alright. So it is a reversible change. But once we have baked it, once we have baked the pot, अब क्या हुआ, जब हमने इस pot को bake कर दिया, so now it has become a solid material. Now it is very solid and very hard and it has taken a perfect shape out of it. So now we cannot convert it back to clay. Okay, because now it has become a hard covering and now clay is converted into a hard material. Okay, so now we cannot reverse it back to a clay. So baking of pot is a irreversible change. Getting my point? So shaping of pot is a reversible change, whereas baking of a pot is a irreversible change. So you will write the answer like this only. In the same way you will write the answer. Now moving ahead with question number 3. Breaking of glass tumbler and burning of paper. Here off is written twice. So breaking of a glass tumbler and burning of paper are changes in which we cannot get back the original substance. Isn't it? So we have two things. We have one that is a breaking of a glass tumbler and second we have a burning of paper. अगर कोई ग्लास टम्बलर है, अगर कोई शीशे का हमारे पास ग्लास है, वो टूट जाता है, उसको हम दोबारा नहीं बना सकते. ठीक है. Same goes with the burning of paper. When we are burning the paper, when the paper is completely burnt, we cannot get back the paper back. Okay, we cannot get the paper back. So in both the cases, we cannot get the original substance. Getting it? What is the difference between these two? So what is the difference between breaking of glass tumbler and burning of paper? So what is the difference between the two? Breaking of glass tumbler and burning of paper. So let's see what is the difference between two. So in breaking of glass tumbler and burning of paper, we have two things. So what happens in this case is, one is a physical change, another is a chemical change. Isn't it? So which one is a physical and which one is a chemical change? Let's see. So now let's take a glass. We have taken a glass and this glass is broken from the middle. ठीक है, ये ग्लास क्या हुआ, टूट गया. ठीक. And now we have a paper and this paper is burning and it has now converted into ash. Okay. So when this paper is converting into ash, so this is the ash and this is burning paper, and here we have a broken glass tumbler. Alright, we have these two things. Okay. So when this glass is broken, this part is also a glass material. This is also glass. There is no new substance formed. Okay. So in breaking of a glass tumbler, what we can see that no new substance is formed and no chemical change is taking place. But here, when a paper is burnt, there are several gases released out, like carbon dioxide is released, various smoke is released here, and the paper is now converted into ash that is altogether having a different property. Okay, altogether it is having a different property. So here we are getting a new substance. What we are getting? We are getting a new substance here. So the changes in which we are getting a new substance is a chemical change, and in which we don't get a new substance is a physical change that we already know. Okay. So breaking of glass is a, what is the difference between two? So breaking of glass is a physical change, whereas burning of paper is a chemical change. Alright. So let's see what is written in the answer. Alright. On breaking a glass tumbler, no new substance is formed, as the molecules of glass remain the same. But in the burning of paper, what happens? Smoke, gases are given out. That is, new substances are formed. Hence, breaking of glass tumbler is a physical change, whereas burning of paper is a chemical change. So I hope you are clear with the answer that breaking of glass tumbler is a physical change and burning of paper is a chemical change. Because here we get in burning of paper we get a new substance altogether, but in case of breaking of glass tumbler no new substance is formed. So that was answer number 3. Now moving ahead with question number 4. What kind of change is cooking of food and why? So just now we have discussed that cooking of food is a chemical change. Now why it is a chemical change? This is a question. So why it is a chemical change, children? Tell me. Because when we are cooking a food, first of all, the original molecule change to form a new substance. The original molecule changes to form a new substance. हमारे पास क्या था पहले? Consider it as potato. So this is a potato. We have taken tomato. Alright. So this is a, we have taken potatoes, we have taken tomatoes, and all the other things, like we have taken chilies, we have taken ginger. Alright, this is a ginger and everything we have taken, and we have cooked it in a pan. ठीक है, हमने क्या किया? इसको cook किया एक pan में. Alright, so now what is going to happen? We are going to cut all these vegetables and we'll put it in the pan and we'll make a sabji out of it. So when we are cooking it, what is going to happen? The molecule of this potato, this is a potato, so the molecule inside this potato will change. Alright, it will entirely change. It will be added with the spices, it will be added, even it will become soft. Alright, so there are several changes that are taking place inside it, and we get a new substance with entirely different property. Alright, so when we are getting a new substance with different property, such changes are called chemical change. So cooking of food is a chemical change. This is because the original molecule changed to form a new substance with different properties, and this cannot be reversed. So that is why cooking of food is a chemical change. I hope you are getting my point, children. Now moving ahead with next question, that is question number 5. Do you agree with the statement all physical changes are reversible? If not, give the correct statement. So children, do you agree with this that all the physical changes are reversible? What about tearing of paper? इनका कहने का मतलब ये है कि जितने भी फिजिकल चेंजेस होते हैं सबके सब we can reverse it back. But if you remember the example of tearing of paper or breaking of glass tumbler, can we get the paper back by when once we have teared the paper, can we get the original paper back? No, we cannot. And this is a physical change. This is a physical change. So, what we say that no, this statement is not right. Most physical changes are reversible, not all. Maximum of the physical changes are reversible, but there are few exceptions like tearing of paper, like breaking of glass tumbler. तो ये सारे क्या है? Exceptions है. सारे physical changes reversible नहीं होते हैं, कुछ होते हैं, कुछ नहीं होते. Okay? So what is the correct statement? Correct statement is most physical changes are reversible, not all. Alright, so this is the correct statement. Now moving ahead with next question, that is question number 6. Growth is increase in size. Growth क्या होता है? Growth होता है increase in size. Okay, what is growth? Growth is increase in size. Alright, so is it a physical or a chemical change? Give reason. So this is the question. Because growth is increase in size, तो ये physical change होगा कि chemical change होगा? Yes, children. So we have seen when I was teaching you this topic, so I have given you the examples and you have also seen the diagrams. So growth is a chemical change. Now why growth is a chemical change? Because as we are growing, there are several chemical changes that are taking place inside our body. We take food, the energy is generated, and that energy helps in the development of the cell, and that cell grows. Then we add into it various proteins, carbohydrates, and everything. So everything now and then changes are taking place inside our body, and that's why we are growing. And similarly, the cells are also growing in our body. Okay, so growth is increase in size. Is it a physical or a chemical change? So we can see here that growth is a chemical change. This is because the substance that make up the cell, the substances that make up the cells in the body, जो भी चीजें, substance means any substance that make up the cells in the body, जो हमारी body में cell को बना रहे हैं, are different from the substance present in the food. जो खाने में present है उससे वो एकदम अलग है. So that is new substances are formed. Okay, so when we are eating the food, what happens beta? When we are eating the food, a lot of energy is generated. Okay, and this energy will lead to the formation of new substances in our body. Okay, this leads to the formation of new substances in our body time and again by various processes. Okay, so that is why growth is a chemical change, not a physical change. Alright, so that was about the short answer question that we have discussed. So these were the short answer questions, children. So this you will write in your fair notebook. I'll send the PDF to you. So after the class, you can go through the PDF and you will find the answers there. Okay. So now can we move ahead with the long answer question? So alright. Long answer question, question number 1. Explain the difference between physical and chemical changes, giving one example of each. So we have to give the difference between physical and chemical change. This is also mentioned in your book. You can copy it down from there also. So yes children, quickly tell me, what is physical and what is chemical change? Everybody knows it. So what is physical change? In physical change, first of all, molecule of the substance does not change. Whereas in chemical change, molecules, the internal structure of the substance changes. In physical change, no new substance is formed, whereas in chemical change, new substances with different properties are formed. Like for example, in physical change, we have freezing of water. So when the water is freezed, so it will get converted into ice. So this is a water. Just a second. So here we have water. This is a water. When it is freezed, it will be converted into ice. Alright, we know that it will be converted into ice and this is a water. Okay. So what happens? The molecule of the water is not changing. Here also water is H2O and when it is formed into ice, it is also H2O. So the molecule, that is internal structure, is not changing. Getting my point? So this is a example of physical change. No new substances formed. Now what about chemical changes? Example is burning of paper. So we have discussed it in the previous questions also, that whenever we are burning the paper, entirely new substance is formed and various gases is released, smoke is released and hence it is a chemical change. Okay. So these are the differences between physical and chemical changes. So in a physical change, molecules of substances remain exactly the same before and after the change, whereas in a chemical change we see that molecules of the substance undergo changes to form the molecule of a new substance. No new substances are formed, new substances with different properties are formed. An example we have seen. Alright. So children, in your fair notebook also you will write it like this only in a tabular form. Okay. So that was about long answer question, question number 1. Let's discuss question number 2 also. Question number 2 says, one way changes are classified in reversible and irreversible. Explain with examples. So we have to define what is reversible and what is irreversible. Reversible का क्या मतलब होता है? Changes जो कि वापस से reverse हो जाए. That is reversible change. Like change in state. Change in state का क्या मतलब? What is the meaning of change in state? Change in state means water is getting converted into ice. Alright. And water can also be converted into vapor. Water, vapor. Alright. And this is water and this is ice. Alright. So vapor is in gaseous form. It is gas. It is liquid. Water is liquid and ice is solid. So we have 3 different states, that is solid, liquid and gas. Okay. So this is called change in state. Okay. So it is a reversible change. Why it is a reversible change? Because Water vapor can again be converted into water by the process called condensation. Water or ice can again be converted into water by melting. Alright, so because these processes can be reversed again, it is a reversible change. Dissolving of sugar in water. When we are dissolving sugar in water, that also can be reversed. Okay. Now, irreversible changes. Changes that cannot be carried out in a reverse direction. So changes that cannot be carried out in a reverse direction is called irreversible change, like rusting of iron and burning of paper. So some student has asked me, what is rusting of iron? So children, what is rusting of iron? आपने कोई आयरन लिया, आयरन की रॉड है, ठीक है, इवन इफ यू सी योर टेबल, आपका जो टेबल है ना, टेबल में क्या है कि नीचे की तरफ आयरन की रॉड लगी है, ये टेबल है आपका, दिस इज योर टेबल, ओके, सो you have a rod there, isn't it, here. So if you look to it very carefully, if it is not of plastic, if you look to it very carefully, आपको ना इसके ऊपर ब्राउन कलर की कोटिंग मिलेगी, ठीक है, क्या होता है कुछ देर बाद ये ब्राउन कलर की कोटिंग आ जाती है इसके ऊपर, दिस इज कॉल्ड रस्टिंग ऑफ आयरन, दिस इज कॉल्ड रस्टिंग ऑफ आयरन. हिंदी में इसको बोलते हैं कि जंग लग जाना. तो जब भी किसी लोहे की चीज में जंग लग जाती है या उसके ऊपर ब्राउन कोटिंग आ जाती है, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड रस्टिंग ऑफ आयरन. और अगर एक बार ऐसा हो गया किसी भी आयरन में, तो उसको हम वापस से रिवर्स बैक नहीं कर सकते. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड रस्टिंग ऑफ आयरन. And same goes with the burning of fire. We cannot get it back. Okay, so these are the irreversible changes. So I hope children you are clear with the answers. So please write down all these answers very neatly in your fair notebook of chemistry, and I'll send you these answers. You can write it down from here. Okay. So I hope this part is clear to you children. Rest of the answers along with the HOTS question we'll discuss in the next class. So that's all for today's class children. Thank you and Jai Hind everyone. Please do complete your question answers in your fair notebook. That is your homework for today. So that's all for today's class children. Thank you and Jai Hind children.